Hey guys, on the video, and say it's a little bit different. I'm actually reviewing something that I don't even have anymore because I sold it. And I'm going to get into that a little bit later. But first I'm going to talk about the Vortex Strike Eagle 5-25. And I bought that over probably back in 2019 or 2020 when it had first come out, and I got it for around maybe close to, I got a really good deal on it, like 5 something or 6 something. Now I was looking at the prices now, they're up to like $7.99. But you know, you can get it on deal somewhere, you know, try different places. You can get the Muse, you can even get the Venom that just came out, which is basically a non-illuminated version of the Strike Eagle. But I originally bought that, and I used it a lot, shot a lot with it, and had it on my AR-10, the Palmetto State Armory. I had it on the Howler 1500, shot competitions with it, and I really liked it. I used it because I bought it to replace the Primary Arms SLX, I think it was a 4-16 scope that we tested out, and compared to that, it was a huge step up in terms of usability, right? I wish that the Vortex Strike Eagle had the reticle, the Athena BPR reticle that the Primary Arms had, because I just love that reticle. I mean, real quick, we'll go over the stats, the numbers on the Vortex Strike Eagle, right? It is a first focal plane, 56mm objective lens, 5-25. It's around 30 ounces, 30.4 ounces, so it's, you know, heavier, definitely heavier than the Primary Arms. It has the locking turrets. It had the locking turrets and zero stop, which is pretty cool. And it was a feature that on a scope like that, for that price range, you know, $500–600, then, right, that you couldn't really find a scope with that or with those features at all. So when that first came out, I was like, wow, it has pretty much everything I want. Let's see if it's even decent, right? And I used it. I had then compared it to, my buddy had the PST, and I was shooting it right next to each other, right? So I was looking through mine, looking at his. They were pretty much the same scope. The PST went for a lot more, and I was looking at my Vortex Strike Eagle, and I was pretty happy with the purchase because could not tell any difference in the glass. There was no feature that the PST had that the Strike Eagle didn't have. So I thought that was really cool, and I was really proud of that little setup. The only thing I didn't like realistically was the reticle. I wasn't super stoked on the EBR-7C reticle, and it's not a bad reticle. It's just I prefer the hash marks, the subtensions on there. I think it was every 0.2 mils. There's a hash mark, but they were just a little too thick, especially compared to what I was used to with the Primary Arms and some other optics. It was a little bit thicker, so shooting smaller targets slightly obscured exactly where that hold was, right? From holding off to the right or left on the windage hash marks. It was hard to sometimes see exactly where I was shooting, or see exactly like the target. It would be somewhat obscured by that. So that was one con of the optic. Another one was when I first got it, the hash marks on the turret, elevation turret, did not line up. So I would turn it, and once you got past 1 to 2 mils, it would be in between. The indicator would show you that you're in between 2 hash marks. So that's not pretty cool, especially when you're trying to shoot long range and be pretty accurate, where 1/10 of a mil can sometimes make a difference, right, at further ranges. So I was like, that's not cool. Sent it back to Vortex. Their customer service is legendary, right? And they had a new scope back to me within, I sent the whole scope in, told them the issue. They had within 2 weeks, I had a new scope. It was fine. So pros and cons, right? Yes, it's Chinese made, the Vortex Strike Eagle line. They're Chinese, but Vortex has that super customer service where they're gonna make it right. So I didn't really care. Another thing on the Vortex Strike Eagle that I didn't really like was the parallax knob, which was always super stiff. Even on the one they replaced that scope with, it was still very, very stiff. And someone else bought the Vortex Strike Eagle, and very, very stiff parallax, like to the point where you're really, and at first I was like, oh, that's cool. I'd rather it be tight and then loosen up over time to be super loose and then just get looser, right? But it never got looser. It just was very, very tight and not super awesome. So eventually, someone had mentioned on the channel, they're like, hey, check out the Arken Optics. So I did, and I bought one. I bought the SH4 Gen 2, the 6-24, right, by 50. And I started using it, and I was like, whoa, pretty neat. It pretty much blew out the Vortex Strike Eagle in every way, except the turrets on these don't lock at all. But they do move up and down so you can see where you are. So if you remember where your zero is, you're fine. That was the only feature it didn't have that the Vortex Strike Eagle did have. And the turrets were much better. The audible and tactile clicks were way better. The tracking on these things, I've watched videos where it's almost near perfect, right? Very excellent tracking. And the reticle was much better than the EBR-7C to me. And that's a big thing when you're looking at scopes. People prefer different things in reticles, in optics, right? The reticle to me is big, and I like something that doesn't really obscure the target that much. It was a finer, detailed, Christmas tree style reticle coming with the Arkens, right? This is the new EP5, the enhanced one. I just got that, so I'm gonna be testing that out. I've been using the SH for a while. We're gonna get a video on that. We'll do kind of a review of the entire line of the Arken series. I was using the Arken much more, and then eventually I just replaced the Vortex with my Arken, and then started using my Arken for competitions. It worked really well, and I really like it, and I really like the reticle a lot more than the Vortex Strike Eagle. That's why I sold the Vortex Strike Eagle. The Arken was basically everything the Vortex had, but with a better reticle, and like half the price. So I was like, it's a no-brainer, right? I sold that Vortex, and I got 2 Arkens, right? Again, no-brainer for me. So that's why I was able to do that, and I prefer the Arkens over the Vortex. What I'll say is, in conclusion, right, the Vortex is a well-made optic, and if there's something wrong, they'll fix it, right? If you prefer the EBR-7C reticle, by all means, get the Vortex. It's still a good scope. It's a very good optic. I would say probably get the Venom. That's their cheaper line. If you're going to be using it just for long-range shooting, you're not hunting with it, you don't need an illuminated reticle or anything like that, I'd say the Venom would be very equal, I guess, in comparison price-wise than to the Arkens. Other than that, you're going to be spending more for the Vortex and getting less, in my opinion. I like the Arkens. I like what they offer. So with that, that's the conclusion of the Vortex Strike Eagle. I liked it. It worked well. I preferred the precision tracking with the Arken and the reticle that came in these things for a much lower price. I don't think you can do any better than what Arken's putting out right now for like the $400 to $500 price range. For that optic, you're not getting a lockable turret, but again, it's a nice feature. I don't need it. So all in all, I got rid of the Vortex, and with the Arkens here. So in the future, I'm going to be doing more. I know you probably want to hear more about what I think about the Arkens. I think they're great. I'm still doing testing with them, so I'm going to have some newer videos with that. I have both the 4-16, both SH, the 6-24 and the 4-16s, and then I have the new EP5. So I have every single Arken that they make, and so far so good. So I'll get back to you with that. They're really sweet, and I think you guys are going to like it.